early day today, so I'm a little zhuzhed up, as my kids would say. I did a funeral for a man who lived to the age of 77. It was not expected, especially at the time, because he enlisted into Vietnam and was a truck driver. In this case, it was an armored personnel carrier. It was hit by a rocket. Everyone in that vehicle died except him. No, he did not walk away. He was badly injured. He severed the tendons in one hand. It was a lifetime habit of his to just do this as he continued to work and eventually rehabilitate both of those hands. He could not patch the hole in the back of his skull that was there the rest of his life. He kept picking shrapnel out of his arms. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. A man who went to the funeral said, he had me worried. I went in 2 months after his enlistment date, and I knew he was injured, so I was nervous. I said, what job did you get? Now check this out. His job was running the spotlight. So when you're trying to shoot at the enemy and you got all of these machine guns on both sides of you, his job is running the spotlight. I said, did you write a note to your mom? Dear Mom, I'm running the spotlight that can be seen for 1.5 miles. He said, no, I did not. I did not. I told her, Mom, I'm in a really safe space. and it turns out he was, despite all those whistles, those bullets whistling around. 14 months, not a scratch. He said something that you hear veterans will say a lot. It was not my time. I'll be interviewing or talking to a guy today who, bought a business, and the business was sold to him on some sketchy circumstances. Anyway, what he bought is not what he got. And so suddenly he basically bought a load of debt. He's mowing his lawn, and he's thinking, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going to do? And as he's mowing his lawn, he gets to the end, is turning the mower around, and then there's a car from one of his neighbors driving by. Just happens to hit. Windows open. How's it going? He said, say, do you have an email address for this particular company? And the guy said, sure, I'll send it to you. And he sends an email, just email. Hey, I've got this product. You think you might be interested? And the company gets back to him. Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're looking at some of those things. I mean, how many times does that happen? Where you send an email, for gosh sakes, and you get a big contract. Right place, right time. How much of your life today is the right place at the right time? Just last night, I'm eating at a fundraiser thing for a casual thing, barbecue. Who doesn't like barbecue? See a guy, I've known him for 30 years. How's that piano sale going? Now, he has a 1917 Steinway piano, and I think he wants top dollar for it. He's not bargain selling it. And he said, well, not so good. And as he's saying it, at the table, a guy says, wait a minute, you got a piano? I know some people who are really interested in a piano. The one they have is so old that it can no longer keep tune. They're in the market. Can you send some pictures? Okay, do you know how many people are interested in a piano? Not many, especially a nice one like this. So I said, remember what we talked about, because this guy, he's been trying to sell this piano maybe not hard at it, for years. And I said, well, you know what you said about about a finder's fee. And he said, well, put your phone number in here. So I put my contact, Jeff Finder's Fee Gould. Really, he was just simply the right place at the right time. Think about that, and just think about that. Things happen in the world. Some of those things are terrible. But what control did you have over those things? You just happened to be at that place at that time. That man was in Vietnam, that veteran, because he was born on a specific date. And then years later, 18 years later, he was drafted, and then he was sent, and then he was there. And he just happened to not get killed. Neither did his buddy. 4 years later, nobody's going over there. Weird, strange, true. The car that has a flat tire that veers across the lane and hits you, well, you right? Your child that has a terrible accident, well, that happens. Not to be callous or cavalier, right? But tragic things sometimes happen, and sometimes amazing things happen. Things happen. I'm suggesting that very little of that you can control. The only thing you can control is your actions in the day. As I say, the 5 people or so you will meet, how you interact with them, what you say to them, will be exactly what needs to be said to that person. And God's going to do something with that you may or may not be a part of. And you may not see the results, but you're definitely a part of. It may seem trivial, but it may not be trivial. All right. As they said in the book of Esther, who knows, but perhaps you were born for such a time as this day. I'm Jeff Gould. This is on a lot of different places, including YouTube. You can get another video right there. Boop. And until we talk, I'm Jeff Gould, America's Storyteller. I gotta go. God bless.